Okay, so we're bringing it back to relationships this week and having a think about how we can break the cycle of arguing with our partner. Now, this obviously comes up in my couple work all the time, and sometimes it's just patterns of behaviour that people get into. And it's a style of communicating that people get into, and it can be really difficult to get out of that once that those communication styles are ingrained. But this week we're going to be looking at just some really easy tips, just for you to consider. Really, I mean, like with any relationship issue, it takes for us to be committed to changing in order for the change to happen. There's no magic solution to any of this. But there are some really simple tips which can make a huge difference if you really give them the time, understand the process, and give the time to implementing them and practicing them. So the first thing, which I've got to be honest was a real game changer in my relationship, was thinking about rather than making everything you statements all the time. And like all of these ones, I mean, they're relationship stuff isn't complicated, right? Like these tips that I'm going to be giving you, these strategies I'm going to be giving you, these are simple strategies. There's no rocket science here. Implementing them and doing it every day is something quite different. Okay, so for the first one, thinking about I statements rather than you statements. So if we are always attacking our partner, if we are always blaming our partner for the difficulties in our relationship or the difficulties that we are struggling with, it puts them on defense. It puts them on the back foot. It makes them defensive, right? Exactly as it would do for you. Okay, obviously this is two-way. I'm talking to you, so I'm thinking about how you can relate this to your partner. But obviously if the shoe's on the other foot, then show your partner this video. So rather than going in and saying, you do this, you do that, you always do this, you're always doing that, right? Turn that around to, this is how I feel. This is how I feel. This is how I am feeling. When this happens, it makes me feel X, right? Really straightforward. Like I said, it's an easy principle, not so easy to execute, but will make a massive, massive difference. So my husband and I have never really been one for outright rowing. Like we're not a rowy couple. We're not very argumentative, but I definitely have in the past been the one to say, oh, you never do this, you always do this, you're always doing this. And first of all, always statements are ridiculous because nobody always does anything. You can't say you never ever do something because the likelihood is that they do it sometimes. So like the amount of couples that I know that argue about the dishwasher, I'm going to say dishwasher because I used to get myself in a right old tiz about the dishwasher, and I know hundreds of other couples get into stuff about dishwashers, right? So you never do the dishwasher is a ridiculous statement. Of course they do the dishwasher, they just don't do it as much as you want them to do it. Okay, or anything else. So we don't want to say always. We don't want to say never. We don't want to be using like huge statements that are overgeneralized. And we don't want to be saying you all the time. You. It's horrible. It makes you feel defensive. It makes you feel got at. It makes you feel like you are. That you need to protect yourself and defend yourself. That's why people get argumentative, is because they feel they need to defend themselves. So whereas if we say I feel when this happens, this is how I understand it. Now there's lots of different reasons why I statements work better, but for me the really simple way of saying of explaining why an I statement feels better is because it gives the person context. It gives the person context. It's not about, does everybody have two? I'm going to stick with the dishwasher one. I know it's stupid, right? It is stupid. It's a stupid example, and it's a stupid thing that we a lot of people argue about regularly, but I'm going to stick with it. Who cares about the dishwasher? It's not about the dishwasher, is it? It's about feeling taken for granted. Like, everybody's got 5 minutes out of their day to empty the dishwasher, but it's what that represents, right? So you don't mind. The dishwasher is insignificant. It's how it makes you feel. That is the thing. It makes me feel like XYZ. It makes me feel like I'm taken for granted. It makes me feel like you take me for granted. It makes me feel exhausted. It makes me feel like it's just one more thing for me to worry about. Like, whatever it is, whatever the situation, whatever the when you go out and you don't call me, it makes me feel like this. So you're not going on the attack of, you never call me, you always do this, you always do that. You're just saying, this is how it makes me feel. When your partner has a context to how you are feeling, and you are explaining the emotion behind it, they are going to be much, much more likely to hear what you are saying, to actually be able to understand your point of view and then be able to do something about it, rather than just get into a shouting match that ultimately leads you absolutely nowhere. I'll be back tomorrow with another helpful tip. If you've got any comments on that, please do put your comments below. And as always, if there's anything that you want to talk to me about, you can send me a message and we can arrange to have a chat sometime. Okay, have a lovely rest of the day. Take care.